Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to review some of the basic functions you need to know or want to know to start creating your projects in Design Space. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you'd like to, join my Facebook groups. In the description right under this video, you'll find links. First feature we're going to look at is grouping your images or grouping your text. It's one of the most basic features in Design Space and one that you'll probably use very often. But before we look at how and why you want to use group, I wanted to mention color sync. Color sync is a function or feature that is often overlooked or forgotten. I forget about it all the time. So if we look at the stars and the square, I've used 3 different colors. So I could easily just click a color and change it to something that I've already got on the screen. But another way you can do that, and I find very easy, is to go up to the top of your layers panel. You'll see color sync right under your Make It tab. Click on Color Sync and you can see all the colors you've used and what you've used them for. And all you need to do is take the image and drag it onto the color that you want to change it. See how everything on the screen has become the same color? I can do that also with the text. I can drag it down and change it to the same color, or I can bring it back up and change it back to black, or whatever color I'm using. So let's go back to our layers panel. So why would you want to use group? Let's take these and group them. Let's say we want duplicates. Instead of duplicating one image at a time, I can just click duplicate and duplicate the entire group. Let's say I'm going to flatten this or weld it or slice it. I want to keep a copy of the original. Now I've got a duplicate and I can just hide that group in my layers panel and continue to work with the original. Another way you might want to use it is to copy paste this image into a second window, into a different project that you're working on. I have a video for that too, and I'll add the link to it in the description under this video in case you'd like to watch that. Another reason you want to group is to easily resize. I can just drag and everything will move at the same time. Or I can go up to my top toolbar and let's say I want the whole image to be just 6 inches wide. Everything will change at the same time. Even though it's grouped, I can still unlock it and I can still make it longer or wider. All the objects are moving together. Another thing you need to know is that when your objects are just grouped, it's not going to have any effect on your cutting mat. So I'll show you that. Let's just take this text and group it so I can hide it easily and click Make It. On the mat and done. And you'll see on my cutting mat that all the images have moved because they were only grouped. They weren't attached. We're going to cover attached next in this video, but you can see that they will move. And of course, you can still move them around any way that you want to. We'll cancel that. Let's bring our text back up on the screen because there's something I wanted to show you. Let's ungroup. All the lines of these texts are grouped separately. I can select them all, align, center horizontally, or align and align right, align left, because each line is grouped. Let's ungroup this line, ungroup. Now it's all individual text. Let's align left, and you see what happens. So if you're going to use a line to line up your text, you want to make sure that it's all grouped. So I think that pretty much covers how you want to use group. So let's move on to attach. Now we're going to take a look at the attach function. This is really a great feature. I have some squares and stars on my screen, and what I'd like to do is take this star, select both together, align center, and I'd like to have this star cut out of my square. On this one, I'd like to have it cut out the side. So we'll take these and we'll group them because we just reviewed grouping. We'll take these and we'll group them, and we'll even take our text and group it. Let's go to make it. We'll click on the mat and done. And you can see that Design Space has moved everything because it's grouped, it's not attached. So let's cancel. We'll go back to this one. Let's just backtrack everything that we did. I'm going to put my star on, align and center, and I'll go down to the bottom of my layers panel and click attach. You can see attach the star and the square. On this one, I'll select both together and click attach again. Let's select all our text and click attach. So now when I go to make it, everything will look exactly how I've set it on my canvas. So let's take a look on the mat and done. And you can see that all my text is attached and it looks exactly how I wanted it to on my canvas. And my stars are lined up on my squares exactly where I wanted them. I also wanted to mention that you would do the exact same thing if you wanted to cut your text out of a background. So you could take a shape. We'll just take any square for now. Let's make it larger. And I'll change the color so you can see what I'm doing. Let's move our text send to the front and put it on top of the square. Select all and attach. And you'll see that my text color has changed to the color of my background. That's normal. That's what it's supposed to do because it's going to cut this text out of my background. So attach is quite a simple feature, but it's something you're going to use all the time you need it. Let's take a look at the Weld feature. Weld is a feature that I use all the time, a feature or function. I use it all the time when I'm designing my own gift boxes, envelopes, shape cards. There's many times that you will want to use the Weld function. So let's start off by looking at text. See all this text that I have here? I can select it all and group it or attach it. But if you take a look at my layers panel, even grouping it still means that I have all this text. That's a lot of text for Design Space to process. But let's take this group, go down to the bottom of my toolbar and weld it. You'll see on your layers panel that that text has now become one basic cut, much faster for Design Space to process. The only way to undo a weld is to use your back button. You don't have an unweld feature. So if I select it and click back, you can see on my layers panel that all the text has separated again. That means if you've gone 4 or 5 or how many steps ahead in your designing, you want to be sure that the text you've welded is exactly how you want it. Or every time you use that back button, whatever step you've gone ahead will be gone. Check and double check, or some people even duplicate it. and hide that duplicate in their layers panel so that when they weld this text, they're not worried about having to go back in order to make changes. So I have a hidden copy of the open text that I can use if I need to make changes, and I have my welded copy. Also, welding text will eliminate cut lines. So let's move this aside. I wanted to show you this. I'll make it large so you can see it better. I've made the O pink so that it will stand out. And see where the pink overlaps onto the black? Well, Design Space is going to cut around that pink. Even if it's black, Design Space is going to cut around those overlap pieces. If I click Weld on my layers panel, you no longer have those overlaps. The O has gone back to black, of course, and those overlaps are gone. So this will cut as one piece, not with cutouts for the overlapping text. Let's put this back down. If you take something, two shapes, put them together, 2, 3, 4 shapes, put them together, and click Weld, the star has disappeared because it's fused or joined into my bottom layer. So welding joins all the layers together. If you're using it for something like a shape card, I can put my star on the side, select both, and weld. And you'll see that that cutout portion that's overlapped is gone. Weld is a feature that you're going to use very often once you start creating boxes, envelopes, shape cards. There's so many different ways that you're going to use weld. The function we're going to look at now is slice. It's an important function and it's one that I use very often. You're going to use slice to cut one shape or one layer out of another. So let's take this heart and put it on my square. Of course, I can select both of these together and click attach. As we already reviewed, it's going to show me what it looks like on my cut screen, but I'm not going to see what the cut looks like on my canvas. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to select both together and I'm going to use slice. I'll take away the cuts. And I'm able to see exactly what it's going to look like. So if I'm putting a window in a gift box or on a card, I can add my layer behind and see if it's something I like. If not, I can use undo to take it right back to the beginning and I can start over. If I've already used attached and gone ahead and cut out my project and I'm not happy with how it looks, I will be starting over completely. So this is one of the reasons I really like to use slice rather than attach. Another thing I wanted to show you, you can cut multiple shapes at one time just by using your weld function. Let's duplicate this so we have several hearts. I'm going to select them all and group them so I can move them all at one time. Let's put them on my square and select both together. You'll see the slice feature is grayed out. Let's take those hearts back and weld them. And as we reviewed in the weld function, these hearts have now become one basic cut, one layer. So I can put them back on my square, select both together, and now I have the option to slice. There is a way that you can slice multiple images all at one time just by using your weld function. The same is true for text. Let's get another square. I'm going to make it larger to fit behind my text. Select both together. And notice again that slice is grayed out on your layers panel. Let's move away the square. I'll select all my text, weld it. It becomes one image on my layers panel. I can put all that text on my square, select both together, and slice. Move away the cut portions. We'll just delete that to get it off the screen. And I can see what my text is going to look like when it's cut out. So as you can see, slice is a function that's very handy and very easy to use. It's one of my favorites. So let's take a look at our last function in this video, how to flatten images for print and cut. Flatten is the function you want to use when you want to prepare your designs for print then cut. It's a terrific function. I love it. I use it all the time. So there's a common mistake we see often. So I'm going to show that to you immediately. Let's hide these for now. And we'll hide that. Pretend that this is text that you've written up to put on the front of a card or inside a card or on your gift box, wherever you want to use it, and you want it to print then cut. So I'm just going to flatten. It's ready to print and cut. I'll click Make It. And we see it on our print screen. But what many people don't realize is that if you've done it this way, Design Space is still going to cut out every individual letter that you see because it needs to be anchored to a background, flattened to a background. So let's cancel this. Let's unflatten. You can put any shape you want behind it. I'll just go to Shapes and take a square. We'll change the color and I'll make it yellow. You can use white, of course, whatever color you want, but I'll use yellow so that you can see it easily. I'll send it to the back. I'm going to select all together and now I'll flatten. I'll go to Make It again. And now you see my text is anchored to a background. It's flattened to a background. So Design Space is going to cut out only the shape of the background, not each individual letter. We'll cancel again. Let's undo this. Delete the background. And I'm just going to click Weld to make it smaller on my layers panel so I can find the other things I want to show you. Let's take these back onto our screen. So as I showed you with the text, if I was just to flatten this without a background, Design Space would print and then cut out each of these hearts individually. If I want them for the front of a card as a tag or anything like that, I want them to be flattened to a background. I can add a background, I can add a shape, a circle, anything I want, or I can use offset and apply. And that's another way I can use a background to cut out. That way I keep all the shape of those little hearts, but they'll cut all as one. Select all of it together and flatten. And you see on my layers panel that it's become one image for print then cut. Here we have 3 different images. Let's ungroup them. When I look at this image, Hello Valentine, it's a basic cut and there's no extra layers to flatten together. So I'm just going to my offset. I'm going to apply and I have a background. Now I can take both together and flatten. This is more than one layer. I can just click flatten. And this is also more than one layer. And I can just click flatten. Let's hide this and hide these. And we'll go Make It. And as you can see, they're all going to cut out separately as you would want them if you were cutting for stickers, let's say. But if I wanted them all to cut together in one piece, I would want to add a shape to the background. I'm going to unlock it Let's make it a different color again. We'll just drag it out, send to the back, select all and flatten together. We can see the dimensions are too large. The current size for print and cut is 6.75 by 9.25. That's the maximum you can cut at the moment, so I'll just drag it smaller. We'll go to make it. And once again, you can see that Design Space is going to cut only around the background. It's not going to cut each one individually like stickers. I hope this video will help you to use all the functions available in Design Space. Thank you for watching.